Okay, so hi guys. Um, as I've already mentioned, today we'll be working on three projects. Okay, first will be Markdown-preview. If I may show you here, Markdown-preview, then Pagination, and then MovieDB. Okay, so in all we'll be completing all our projects. After this, we'll be working on few clones. Our Netflix clone, that will be just the UI part, just what you see when you enter Netflix for the first time, just that. Okay, and as for Disney Plus clone, we'll be making like a complete of it. Like you can just click on something, suppose a movie or a show, you can click on it and you can see its info and all that. Okay, even if you want, you can make a model and you can play trailer over there only, right? You can't just play show, obviously it's totally illegal, but yeah, you can play the trailer and all that, connecting it with YouTube or something, so that you can do. Okay, so we'll be working on that maybe next week probably. Okay. Also one more thing, there will be no lecture tomorrow. I have an event to attend. Okay, so we'll be shifting our day forward. Okay, I know, like, should not do it, but it is an event that I have to attend, like really necessary for me. So to tomorrow will be off. Okay, probably we'll be continuing next Saturday. um yeah, so that's what I want to tell you. Okay, so before we begin with our projects, do you have any doubts or anything else, like regarding any topic or regarding the workshop or anything else?
Oh, hi, Rupam.
Hi Bharat.
Yeah, can you just quickly show the portal, create portal functions and its advantage?
Sorry, can't hear you properly.
Create, hello, I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible, but there is a, like, your voice is not that clear.
Okay. So there is a one a function in a React. It's a create portal where I see in a YouTube, but not having 100% clear
Mm-hmm.
about that. If we are seeing in an index.html file, there is a div id root, and there is a portal created parallel to that, just for mostly for the tooltip and the model kind of things.
Okay, I think okay, I'm not still able to hear you properly, but I think you are talking about portals, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so portals is a create portal is a method that is you can call it a method or function, whatever. So it is present in your React DOM only. Okay, so if you want to call it just like we used to call React DOM dot render. Remember, when we used to render for the root, we used to call it React DOM dot render, right? So just like
yes,
that, when you want to make your create portal, when you want to create your portal, you go to like React DOM dot create portal. Okay, and in that you write two things: child and container. I'm not covering it in like in this tutorial, but just to give you a brief, since you asked, because it's not that important. Like every topic in React is then important, but again, you can't cover each and every topic of React. React is very vast, and I have covered like the topics that are really important and that you will see everywhere. So if you're working in some company or something and you go and see their code, most of the things that you find, like 95% of the things that you will find there, we have covered. Okay, 5% no one can cover that, to be honest. um, no one is that genius, nor am I. So that is why I'm saying that you can't cover everything. And as for create portal, so you can just go it like that: react dom dot create portal child comma container. In that like we used to write that tag. If I just show you, just drop my phone.
yeah. I
um,
gone through that, but I just want to like, what are the advantage of the create portal?
Sorry, advantages.
Uh, yes.
Okay, I think I need to like go in a deep for that. Okay, so I'll suggest you some video. I'll find a good video for that, and I'll suggest you, or I'll record a brief session for that. Okay, because we are already 15
Okay,
minutes past. I'll record a
okay,
brief
no
session
problem.
for that, and I'll tell you. Okay,
Okay, no
because
problem.
it will take definitely
Thanks.
it will take some time.
Okay, thanks. No problem.
Yeah. So today, as I said, we'll be working on 3 projects here: Markdown-preview, Pagination, and MovieDB. Okay, and here's our okay, not this. Let's first cover Markdown-preview. Okay, so this is going to be our first project, and that is going to be Markdown-preview. If you don't know what Markdown is, then I'll just quickly search for you and I'll tell you Markdown. Okay, so let me just get something. Clearly this is not what I want. Oh yeah, this will be good. Okay, so as you can see here, normally in our HTML, how do we make a heading, right? How do we make a heading? If I want to make a heading of h1, then what I will do? What I will do is I will make an h1 tag, and in that tag I'll say whatever the context or whatever the content that I want to give, I'll write that, right? Like here in my h1 I have written heading level 1, right? This we know, like this is clear to us. So similarly in Markdown, what we do is we say that okay, instead of writing this h1 tag, just write this heading level 1 and after a single hash. Similarly, if you want to write like a heading 2, so instead of writing h2 tag, we just write 2 hashtags. Okay, like this is not used in our HTML or CSS or anywhere. It's just that it is used somewhere, like if you have worked on Git, right? In GitHub, when you write on your README, okay, I'll just take you there and we will have a look. Okay, so now if I want to write some heading over here, okay, that was fine. I don't know why it came here. Okay, over. Why it is not showing any heading or something? Okay, so look here. Since if I want to give a heading one, like the bigger heading, the biggest heading, so what I'll do, I'll say hash. Okay, this is in your README. Okay, so this is you somewhere. And if I want to just give heading like a heading 2, then I'll just write 2 hash. If I want to give heading 3, then I'll write 3 hash. And similarly, there are different syntax for that. Suppose I wanted to just give this okay, I'll show you a different example. Okay, blank lines after a heading for compatibility. Okay, look here. If I want to start a new line, what I'll do, I can't just go on and write a new line. I'll have to write, okay, here, look, in paragraphs, if I'll write this p tag, then my paragraph is finished, right? My paragraph is finished. I just wanted to write, I really like using Markdown. Even if I don't write this full stop, it works, right? But in Markdown, what you do, you don't write this p tag. You just write this full stop and your work is done. Okay, I'll just show you in our project itself. If I look here, Markdown-preview hash, and here it is, Markdown-preview. If I want heading 2, then what I'll do, hash, I'll give my name, suppose. Okay, I'll give my surname for this. Now suppose I wanted to write some sentence. Okay, so I'll just go web dev army is good. Now if I continue to write here, nothing will happen. Even if I press enter and write in the next line, it will continue over here. Okay, but what I can do is I can write full stop over here. Now if I write in the next line, look, okay, it should start with the next line. Anyways, I think I messed up with some syntax or something. Anyway, so you get the idea, right? If you want to like make some more changes, if you want to get bold, then you can just write these 2 asterisk signs over there. Suppose I want to get this in my bold letters, then I can just write it in my two asterisk signs. Okay. Similarly, if you want to just get anything else or italic or something, or you want to even include an image, I think there should be something for image also. Okay, look, there is this for list. If you want to get something in quotes, then you also have this. You can just write this sign, and you can write whatever you want, and some it would appear something like this. I'll just show you. Okay, it is not something that you will have to master, or it is something that you will learn in React. It just we'll make this. Okay, so that we'll make this markdown, so that when you write over here in markdown syntax, it will show you the result over here on the right side. Okay, so this is what we'll be working on, and yeah, so let's see how it works. Let's get our dependencies. I'll just get the setup over here. pm install. Okay, so I hope you get the idea of this, how markdown works. Okay, it is not something like in React or something that you will have to master, or you will have to like learn out of it, or you will have to remember something. It's just that we are going to make a project such that if you write something like this, you will get a result something like this. If you write something like this, you will get a result something like this. Okay, so this is what we are going to do, and yeah, we'll look into it. So I'll allow my dependency store get installed, and as soon as it does, we'll start. Okay, let's give you a tour of this till then. Here in my SRC currently I just have index.js. Okay, this like we have this app over here, so that means it is coming from my app.js. So everything that I write must connect to app, right? My function app. And other than that, we have this index.css, which contains all of my styling and all that. Okay, so this is just what we have in the starting, and obviously at the end of this we'll have much more. Okay, for this we'll not be directly making some functions or something, so that when I write hash and this should appear, rather we'll be using a library for this, so that we can just get the data. Okay, so I'm letting my dependencies get installed. Okay, I'll show you one more thing, the library till then. Okay, the library that we are going to do, I'll show you here, markdown npm. Okay, so we'll be using this library. In order to get this library, you will have to hit npm I react dash markdown. Okay, since I have already installed it in this project. Okay, so that is why I'm just installing npm install. I'm just hitting npm install, and as soon as I do that, all my dependencies get installed, including this react markdown. Okay, so I do not need to hit npm I react markdown. But if you're working on a new project, or if you're working with a completely new file and you are not using my this react projects workshop main, okay, that you got from my github, if you are not using this, if you have not downloaded this from my github, or if you have not cloned it or something, basically not using this file, if you're not using this file, if you're making a new project of your own, you will have to install it with npm I react dash markdown. Okay, after this, I'll just start this. After hitting npm I react markdown, basically installing it, you will have to import it whenever you want to use it. I have already imported it. Import React Markdown from React dash Markdown. Okay, so if I want to use it, I'll have to like import it. Okay, like you'll have to import it if you want to use it. I have already imported it and I can just go on and use it. I hope my development server is ready. I'll wait for it, and as soon as it does, we'll start. Okay, so my development server is ready, and let's get started. Okay, so I'll just increase the size. Now, to make changes, like in order to get these values, like we are seeing here, hash and double hash and triple hash and all that. In order to get this, we'll be changing this, right? It's not like I'm writing the same thing in every line. So that means my state is changing, right? So for that, we'll be using use state. So let's go back and make a use state, and that is going to be markdown, comma set markdown. Okay, let's make this state, and for the starting, let's keep it double hash markdown preview. Okay, just for the starting, we'll be changing this obviously, but for now let's keep it this way. Now in my return, obviously I'll want to remove this, and in here I'll start it our main. Okay, and in my main I'll make a section with a class name of markdown. In this I'll, okay, if you can see here, we have two things, this text area and this result area, right? So in my main I have this complete markdown, then I'll need two things. One is input, right, this text area basically, and this result area. So firstly let's make a text area, so that whatever the text I have, I can just pass on it. I'll give it a class name of input, and let's remove all these things. I do not need these. Let's remove name also. Okay, I have some class name, and I'll pass some value to it, and value I'll say markdown, right? I'll want to pass some value. As you know, in our form, whenever we used to deal with form, we had two things, value and on change, right? So we'll be doing the same thing over here. I'll say my value is markdown, and my on change is going to be an inline function. Yeah, I'll say set markdown. Now whatever value is passed over here, it will be taken in my value, right? It will make the changes. So this will link my state to this text area, and on making some changes over here, right, if I make some changes, this function will invoke, and it will set my markdown to the new value, which will eventually set my markdown. Okay, so basically my state will change, and I'll have a different value every time whenever I make some changes, and depending on that change, on those changes, I'll have some data, and depending on the data, I'll show the result, right? So moving on further, after this text area, as I said, we'll need a result, right, over here. Currently I can see this markdown preview, but we don't have the result, so let's make a result with an article, and I'll say result over here. Okay. Let's save this, and obviously currently I can't see anything, or I do not have anything, right? Just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, here. Currently I want to show something in my article, right? In my result. So where were we? Here. In my markdown preview. For now, what I can do is I can just show my markdown. Okay, I'm not making any changes or anything. So let's keep it this markdown. So if I come back here, I can just see this, the same text over here, right? It is my on change is capturing my this data from here, right? Text from here, and it is passing it to my value, which is eventually getting it to markdown, and eventually this is getting the value, right? This markdown is getting the value, and now it is passing into my result. So if I go here and if I make some changes over here, look, the changes are appearing here, right? If I keep on writing, it will keep on making changes and all that. So yeah, let's keep it that way, and let's work further. So I have this main, I have this section in which I am having this text area and my result, right? I am showing this result depending on this markdown. Obviously I do not need this, I want to make some changes. Just like this, if I write my data something like this, it should be shown something like this, and just like that, right? If I make some different syntax or something, it should show me a different data. Again, if I go to my npm and here look, if I write this markdown, right? And now if I pass this hash hello and this hello this react markdown, then it is showing me the result. So that means if I want to get some data or get the result depending on what I'm passing, then I need to write that data inside my react markdown tag, right? And I've already imported it, so I can use it. I'll go back over here, and what I'll do, I'll wrap this markdown inside my article. Let's get this over here. Let's save this and let's go back. Yeah, this is our project. Now our work is done. Like, I know this was a small project and it has nothing to do much. It was just to show you how you can use a different library. I just wanted to begin with this library, so that is why I used it. Now you can just continue just like that. If I go hash Rupam, look, I have this in h1, right? If I want to make a quote, I can say dev army is best. Okay, let's search for more syntaxes. Okay, let's copy this and let's paste it here. Look, everything is going according to plan. Plan is bold. Why? Because I'm using two asterisk signs over here. Okay, let's search for something different. um okay, if I want to make this list, I can go something like this. So let's do this too. Let's copy this. Okay, okay, so I'm over here. I do not need to make this thing order list and li. I do not need to write all those things. I'm searching for something that can include my image. Here we have this. So what we'll need to do, basically open the file containing the linux mascot marvel at its beauty. Let's copy this, then we'll see how it works. Okay, so this is the text, and I am guessing this was supposed to be the image. So let's search for something else. Let's search for Google on Google. Okay, not this. Let's get this address and let's paste it over here. Okay, this is huge, but anyways, okay, now I can see the image. So basically, how I want to, if I want to pass some um, write something over there, then what I need to do, I'll need to pass the image something like this. Okay, let's search for something smaller. Copy image address. Let's paste it over here. Okay, I can't search for a better image. Anyways, so I have this image over here. So I hope you get the gist, like how it is working, and you can just go on and search for more and more. And just like this, you can go on and search for more and more packages and libraries over here for the React into npmjs.com. You can just go there and search for more and more libraries and all that. Okay, you can search with a specific name, you can search just for the React, whatever you want. I hope this was clear. If you have any doubt, just let me know. Okay, I'm guessing no doubts. Well, there was nothing much to work on, but anyways. So let's move further and let's have a look at our next project. This is going to be a good project. I guarantee you. You will learn, definitely you will learn something new, and this is going to be a pagination. So in this, what we'll see. Till now, we are showing the results in a single page, right? Or what we do, we make some different links. Suppose I want to show different data in our second page, then I can just make an about page. Suppose I wanted to show something about my company. So what I'll do, I'll make a about page for that. But the thing is, things do not work like that. If I have some data, suppose I have 100 persons, okay, and I want to show all those persons on a single page at the same time, I do not want to show them at the same time. So what I'll do, I use pagination, something like this. Now I hope you are familiar to this. So I have this data, I can see 10 people over here, right? I can see these people, but suppose I wanted to get 10 more people. So what I'll do, I'll click on 2. Now I have 10 new people, just like your Google search results, right? If you search for something, then you want to go to the second page, you click on 2 and you are taken to the second page, then third page, then fourth page, just like that. Here, third page, fourth page, fifth page, data keeps on coming. The link does not change, the link is still the same, or URL is still the same. Okay, so URL is not changing, and at the same time you are getting different data. So this is the benefit of pagination. Okay, then we have this next and previous button, with which you can go around onto the pages. You can increase or decrease the page by just clicking on it instead of clicking on a particular page. Also, if you want to go to a particular page, you can click on that. Here I have just have these people over here. These are coming from API. Okay, so in this project we'll learn how to make a pagination and also how to work with APIs. Okay, so these two we'll learn. Although we have already worked on APIs, but there is never like enough if you are working in React and it's the call for APIs. Anyways, if you want to go to a particular person's profile, you can just click on it and it will be taken to his or her profile. Okay, so let's start our work, and yeah, let's get started. Pagination setup src. Here, I'll call this. Let's get this set up over here. Okay, I think I'll need a different one. CD. Okay, I'll have to remove that and sign, right? npm install. Okay, so I'll let the dependencies get started, get installed. Until then, I'll give you a tour of these files. So index.js, you know by now. I don't think I need to explain. Now in app.js, obviously, whatever we write in this app.js, it will show in our app, right? So now we are calling follower here. So basically we'll be working on a single follower every time. So we'll show it here. Then there is use fetch. We'll be fetching our data over here. And then we have usage.js, in which we'll specify how many pages, how many people I want on a single page. Like here you can see that you can see here 10 people, right? And these numbers, so these all the things that you can see here, the number of people or these 10 pages, these all we'll specify with the help of our paginate function. Okay, this usage.js file. In as for my usefetch.js, I do not think I need to explain much. If you look here, we have this URL and we are fetching our URL over here. Okay, simply we are fetching our URL over here, and after this we are returning loading and data. Okay, basically we are making our own hook, use fetch, right? If you remember, we worked on our own hook when we make a custom hook with a fetching only. It was more or less the same. Just like there we are importing loading and data. Now what is data? Data is coming from my API, which I am fetching over here, right? This, which is coming from my URL, and URL is this. So now if you want to go to the URL, just copy it and paste it in your browser, and it will take you here. Now look, what do we have here? We have this login, so basically the name. Then we have our ID, a unique ID for every user. Then we have their avatar URL. So what avatar URL basically means is their profile picture or something. Okay, so if I'll take you there, look, their profile picture and nothing more. Similarly, their profile link, right? If I click on this, look, it will take me to their profile. Okay, so we'll be calling with the help of our this API. We'll be getting that data. Whatever I want. Suppose I want login, I'll get that. Suppose I want ID, I'll get that, and just like that. Okay, so we'll be working on. I hope my dependencies are installed so that we can start. Okay, I'll allow it to get installed, and as soon as it does, we will start.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you explain fetch part again?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so basically what we are doing here is we are making a custom hook. Okay, we are making our own hook, although we have already seen this. So what we are doing here is, if you look here, we are making a component, okay, with the name of use fetch. Since we are making a custom hook, so we'll have to write this USE use, right? Whenever you use some hook or when you make your own hook, it should always start with use. Okay, that's a rule and that you will have to follow no matter what. Okay, so I am making this use fetch hook. Now what I'm doing here is I'm making two states, first for the loading and second for the data, right? As you know, in the starting we'll keep our loading to true. Yeah, I thought someone was there. Anyway, so as you know, we'll keep our loading to true in the starting, as if I do not have any data or something like that, I want to keep my I want to keep my loading to true, right? And as soon as I fetch my data, I'll make this false. So no worries. Then my data is empty. I do not have any data. Once I fetch some data, I'll have that data, right? So what I do, I make a function in which I fetch my data from my URL. Okay, and then where do I put it? I put it inside my set data. So basically in my data. So now there is now this array is no longer empty. I have some data over here, right? And also, since I have some data, so that means I can show my data. So that means I can make my loading to false. So I'm setting my loading to false over here. Okay, we are fetching the data, we are getting that data into my set data so that my array is no longer empty, so that I can show that data to the user or whatever you want to do with that data. It's totally up to you. But currently my data is not empty now. Since I have fetched the data, I'll make this loading to false, and here, as you know, we are invoking this, right? Since I have this function, and if I want to fetch the data, I'll have to invoke it, right? It won't just abruptly invoke on its own or something like that. If I want to get that function, or if I want to fetch the data, I'll have to invoke the function, right? So I'm invoking the function with the help of use effect. I am passing an empty condition, so that when for the first time I go to my app, or when I refresh or do something like that, my data gets fetched. Okay, basically this function get invoked, and that this function fetches my data. Now we are returning two things from here, loading and data. If my data is fetched, it will show my loading some array, okay, some data, and my loading will be false. And in the starting, my loading will be true, and as soon as it fetches some data, my loading will be false, and I'll have some data. So basically, this data and loading I can call in some other file, and I can use there. Okay, so this is installed. Let's start it. Okay, so was this clear? Use fetch. Hello. Okay. Anyways, yes. So my development server is getting started. I'll close this. I'll get back to my app.js since I'll start from here only. Okay, I'll allow it to get started. Currently, I should see this pagination starter and nothing more. Here, this is my pagination starter. This I can see. Let's remove this. Let's write something here. Let's make a main. Before I make a main, since I'll be working mostly here, what I'll do, I'll call my loading and data in my app.js from my fetch, right? So I'll write over here const loading and data, and this will be coming from my use fetch. Okay, I have already imported it over here, use fetch hook. Now in my main, I'll make a div with a class name of section dash title, and in this I'll make a h1 heading, and in this I'll say if loading is true, then pass loading, and if it is false, then pass pagination. Here, I'll quickly refresh or reload. Look, loading appears and then pagination. Why? Because my data is getting fetched. Okay, I'll just show you with the slowing down my network. I'll go to network. Instead of no throttling, I'll say slow 3G. Now look, if I refresh, just wait for it. Loading appears. Okay, that was too quick. Look, I'll go to offline. So look, I'll refresh. It's too tough. Let me see that loading. Okay, so loading appears, and as soon as my data is fetched, I get this pagination over here. Okay, so if my loading is true, then it will show me loading dot dot dot, and if it is false, then it will show me this pagination. After this, I'll make an underline here, something like this, and it would appear here. Why I need to? Okay, underline class. Okay, here I have this underline over here. So after this div, let's make another section with a class name of followers. Okay, and inside this I'll make another div with a class name of container. Right, so what I will do here, I will be showing all this data. Let's bring it. Okay, can't do that. Let's remove this API. Yeah, so basically in that container, I'll be showing this data. Okay, this these people, these profiles and all that. Okay, and then I'll make a different container for these buttons and this previous and next button. So I'll come back over here. Now I want to show all the followers, right? If I go back to my use fetch and let's have a look at our API. Look, basically these are all followers. Look, followers, right? I'm getting this hundreds. So these are all followers. So I want to show the followers. You can be anything, like you can take following or you can take likes or you can take comments. Basically this is an API data and I want to show these people. Okay, so I'll start with followers and follow. Okay, not followers. Why? Because now my data is in my data only, right? Data word. Why? Because in my use fetch I used data state, right? Data comma set data, and when I fetched my data I stored it in my set data. So basically data, right? And when I returned, I also returned it with the same name, with the name of data. Okay, so here also what I'll do, I'll remove this and I'll say data dot map. Let's map over it. Let's call it for a single follower. Yeah, something like this. Now in this I'll say return. What I'll return? Let me return a single follower. Okay, so if I go back over here, you can see this follow component, follow component, follow component. But what we'll need to pass, we'll need to pass id and sorry, key and prop. What prop? The data. The data that I'll pass will be call over here, in my follower.js, right? It will be called over here. So what I'll do, I'll quickly make a key and here I'll say follower dot id. Okay, I'll write this key is equals to follower dot id, and I'll also pass the data. So I can pass the data like this. Suppose I want to just pass the login, just the id and avatar dash url. I can pass that, but what I'll do instead of that, I'll just pass the complete data. I'll say dot 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 follower. I'll pass it as a spread operator. Okay, so I'll pass this, and yeah, so that's it. So if I go back now, I can see this follower component, and also if you look into console, we are not seeing any warning or anything since we have passed this key now. Why we are seeing this follower component? Because if you go to follower.js, you can see this heading of follower component, right? Now you can call it here, you can destructure it over here. So now what I want to get the avatar URL. I'll say avatar dash URL. I also want to get its name or login and HTML dash URL. So this is basically his or her ID, right? So yeah, let's remove this, and instead of this, let's start a different article with the class name of card, right? Since it is something like a card, so I gave it a class name of card. Anyways, starting here, I'll make an image, and in this I'll pass avatar dash URL, and as for alternative, I'll pass login over here. Let's save this, let's go back, and let's see the images, right? So this works. Let's include two more things, the name and the link. So let's go back. After image, I'll make a h4 heading, and inside this I'll say login so that I can see the name, and after this I'll make a href, and in this I'll pass html dash url. Okay, let's give some class name to this too. Let's make a button or something, btn, and let's write inside over here view profile. So let's save this, and look, now it appears. Now I can see the complete data over here, right? All my followers are over here, all 100 of them are over here, since my API was having 100 followers, so I can see those 100 followers over here, right? Now I can see the data, but the problem is I already knew like how to show this data. I haven't learned anything new yet. So just for that, let's see something new and let's work on it so that I can have my data something like this. Okay, so let's go to our new file, and that is going to be utils.js, which is having my paginate function. Now, if I come to my use fetch, if I come back to my use fetch, then look here. I'm already importing paginate here from my utils file, right? Basically this file. So what I'm doing here is, what I want to do basically is, I just directly don't want to show my data, right? I just don't want to directly show my data. Instead of that, what I want to do is, I want to pass my data from my paginate function. Okay, so I'll say paginate and I'll pass data in it. So I'm saying I want to show the data, but let's not show the data directly. Instead, let's filter it first. Let's filter it with the help of my paginate function. And the filtration that I provide, or the filters that I provide in it, right? Let's show the data depending on that. So cool, I am passing this data over here and it is completely fine. So let's go to our utils.js and let's make those changes. I'm getting my followers, so let's destructure it. I'll pass followers over here, and in this, let's look at our followers now. Basically data only, but yeah, I'm changing the name. It's totally up to me what I want to do. Let's go to inspect. Firstly, let's close this. Console undefined. Why, sir? Why is it showing me undefined? I can see this over here. Still is undefined. Let's call it as data only. Let's see if it works. Okay, it doesn't. Why is it so? Okay, can anyone see the mistake over here? Like, what mistake I am making or something? Why it is showing me undefined? Mm, okay, let's pass followers over here. Again, do the same thing. Okay, this would not appear as followers. Okay, if someone can tell me, then I'll make a backend course free for them. Like, I won't charge for backend course like Node.js and Express.js. I won't charge them anything. If you can tell my mistake, because I don't even know what mistake I'm making. So if you can just tell me the mistake, I'll make it free for you. Anyone? Just take a chance. Like, okay, if I'm not able to look at it, let's look at the final code, I guess. Okay, So I was restructuring it as a prop, but it should not be a prop. It is just a parameter. How can I make this mistake? Anyways, you should look at these things, man. Like, what are you doing? I'm making a silly mistake and you are just going with it. So look, I have made this followers over here and I'm calling these followers, right? I'm passing it as a parameter over here and I'm calling it console.log followers. So you can see here this. Okay, I have this complete data that I'm getting from my here, this paginate data since I'm passing it over here. Okay, I'm passing this data. Now I'm calling it over here as followers, right? I can change the parameter name whenever I want, right? So I'm changing it from data to followers. Now I'm console logging this followers over here. Now I can make go and make some changes and do whatever I want. So let's make some changes and let's do what I want to do. Now, how many items do I want to show at a particular page? Let's make it 10, right? Let's make it 10. The items I want to show, so items per page will be like 10 or something. I can increase it, I can decrease it, or whatever I want. How many pages do I want? Now, pages I can't decide. Like, I can decide, like, I want to show 4 pages, 5 pages, but that's not what I want. I want to say that what I'm deciding is items per page. Just keep it 10, but I'm not deciding how many pages. If I have like 1,000 pages, make it 100 pages. If I have just 900 items, then make it 90 pages. Make it something like this. So for that, what we'll do, we'll say followers dot length divided by items per page, right? So that will give me a number of pages. So I'll say console.log and pages. Let's make this pages too. Let's save this, go back, and now let's see 10 pages. This works. Like this clearly makes sense. If I make this 9, now the problem occurs. Like it shows me 11.11111 and so on. Now clearly I cannot have this number of pages. Like my number of pages cannot be in point, right? You cannot have 0.2 page unless you can tear down your screen, tear down your page and show it like this is 0.2 of the page, right? You can't do it with the screen, right? So for that, what we'll do, we'll make it something like this. I'll say math dot seal. Okay, I'll write it, I'll save, and if I now look 12. Okay, so basically it is rounding up my number. I was getting 11.111, so it is rounding up my number to 12. Okay, yeah. So this was for my number of pages, and now let's remove this. Let's make a new array. I'll say new followers is equals to array dot from what? First thing, I'll want some length for my array, right? You can't just directly make a array, so I'm using this. So I'll say my length, keep my length to pages, right? So the amount of or the number of pages there, make the array of that length. Okay, suppose I have 10 pages, make my array to be of 10 size, right? If I have 12 pages, make my array of 12 size. If I have a number of pages is 5, then make my length to be 5. Here I have 12, so it will make my array to be of 12 pages. Okay, anyways, I'll just save this, and if I console log now new followers, you will see a lot of undefineds. Look, undefined, 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 and it doesn't bother me because I do not have any data and I haven't defined it properly, so it is completely fine. It is completely making sense and I'm fine with it. Now let's pass some data and let's see how it works. Now for the item, right, for the trivial item, currently I do not want to pass anything or something like that, so I'll keep it empty. Then I'll need an index, right, the key or the ID I'll need, so I'm using this index. If you don't need it, don't use this index, you can just go with the simple dash, completely fine. Okay, now what we need, what do we need? We need two things, the starting point and the ending point. What starting point and what ending point? The starting point of the profile that I want to start my first page from, and the ending point at which I want to end my particular page. Suppose in this first page, I want to start it from this profile and I want to end it at this profile. As for my second, I want to start at this profile and end it at this profile. But how will I get that? So for that, we'll make a new variable with the name of start. Okay, I'll say index multiplied by items per page. Now, what is this index and items per page? Index is coming from here. For the 0th index, it will have index is equals to 0 for my array. Remember, I was creating an array in which I have this index, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Why? Because the number of pages were 12. So for 0, it will start with 0 into items per page, that is 0 into 9, so 0, right? And for the next, when index is 1, 1 into 9, 9, 2 into 9, 18. So let's have a look at that. I'll say return start, or I can just directly console log start. Man, here, not like this. Start. Let's save this, go back over here, inspect, console, and look here, 0, 9, 18, 27, 36. As we discussed, starts from 0 and at 8. Then new page starts from 9 and at 18 is 17. Then a new page starts from 18 and at 26, right? Obviously we do not have ending point, so we'll make some changes and we'll be good to go with our ending point. So what we'll do for our ending point, we'll say return followers dot slice, right? And in this I'll say start comma start plus items per page, right? So if I have this if I want to show the data from 0 to 8, I'll write 0 comma 9 inside my slice, right? If I write 0 to 9, then it will start my data from 0, it will include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It will not include 9, right? This is the rule of slice, that whenever you write dot slice method, you don't take the last element. Okay, in 0 to 9 it won't take 9th element, in 10 to 18 it won't take 18th element, okay, but it will take 10th element or it will take 0th element. Okay, so here it was. Now let's go back and let's have a look. Now look, if I'm returning now this followers dot slice and start comma start plus items per page, so that means that it is taking my followers. Now what was my followers? Data was my followers, right? And if you remember, data was coming from my API, right? So that means if I go something like this, data dot slice start comma start plus item page, that means data dot slice 0 comma 9. So start from my 0 end at 8, right? Start from my 0 and end at 8. So if I go here and look here, I have 9 elements in this first array. Look, starting from 0 ending at 8. I have second array starting from 0 ending at 8. Don't get confused with 0 to 8, 0 to 8. Basically all the elements in an array start from 0, that is why it is showing that number. Otherwise if you look here, this is starting from 0 to 9, this is starting from 10 to 18, and just like that. Okay, I hope this is all clear. If you have any doubt anywhere, just let me know. No doubt? Everything is fine? Akshay?
Yes, sir.
Great. So since everything is clear, let's continue and let's have a look further. Now, if I make this items per page to 11, now what is happening? Now my pages change, right? I had this 100 and it was getting divided by 9, so it will be 100 divided by 11, it will be 9 point something something something. So that means, sorry, 100 divided by 11, so that means it will be 9 point something something something. So since I am using ceil, it will be 10. So that means now I'll have 10 elements in a sorry, the number of pages will be 10, right? So it will make an array of 10. So if I go back over here, now look, it starts from 0 and it ends at 9. Okay, here the 10 elements here. It starts from 0 and end at 10, right? So I'm having 11 elements in each of them. Okay, and if you look here, this is having just one. Why is this having just one? Because this is what is left in the end, right? So I'll show that, and yeah, let's remove this. Let's remove this console log pages. Oh, let's keep it 9 now, just for our explanation purposes. We'll then change it to 10. I just don't want to make it odd, so we'll change it to 10 anyways. Okay, so as I'm guessing no doubts over here, so let's move on further and let's display our single page first, right? Then we'll look into like display our single page, then we'll look into how to make these buttons and change the data according to the button or the page that I have clicked. Okay, so that is the concept of pagination. So we'll look at it and we'll see. Let's remove this. So if you look here, I'm passing this paginate into data, and depending on that data, I am making some changes over here. But instead of this, what I can do is, instead of directly passing this data, as I said, let's make some filtering. Let's do some filtering depending on this paginate data, and then make changes and show the data. So what I can do, I can just directly write here paginate data. Now what will this do? First, my data will go into my paginate function. It will make changes according to it. It will return things according to it, and in the end, it will pass those changes and sorry, it will pass that array or or that filtered data in my set data. Filtered array or filtered info, it will pass it into my set data. And as you know, if I come back to my app.js, I'm using my data in order to show my data with each follower, and with the destructuring of my prop, I'm showing this data, right? So let's do this, set data, paginate data, and let's show the data according to it. If I come back over here, cannot read properties of undefined reading map. Okay, this is a big fat error. I'm guessing it is talking about this data over here, so which was supposed to come from my set data. Okay, so here I'm not returning anything, right? So let's remove this and instead return something here. new followers. So now it will not show that. Okay, but I can't see the image. Why? Let's look over here. Console. Console.log data. Let's save this. Let's come back here. Let's see. Okay, these are empty. Right, these are empty. Why? Let's see. First, let's remove this. Let's make a new state. Page, comma, set page. I'll tell you why they are empty. Don't worry about that. He's not telling. I'll tell you. Don't worry. Let's make a use state. Now, in this use state, for now, let's make it a 0th page. I'll make another state, and in this, I'll say followers, comma, set followers. Use state. Let's keep this empty. Okay, so basically I'm trying to change everything over here, the data and everything that I'm passing. I'm trying to change it. My page is 0. My followers array is empty. Okay, so instead of getting this data, let's make it followers. Okay, currently it will show me error if I go back there, so I'm not going back. Use effect. I'll say set followers to what? To what should I set my data to? Followers to. Okay, so can anyone tell me what should I pass over here in order to get the complete data so that I can map over it? Anyone? Okay, I'll give you a hint. I have this page, right? Then I have a data, right? If I remove this, I'll just show you quickly here. Let's make this data. Let's go back. Let's data inspect. Here, these are empty. It is fine. But look over here. I have this login ID. Okay, so basically I have this data array, right? This is my data array for a particular page. Listen to me properly. This is a data. Okay, this is data for a particular page. So if I remove this and if I'm trying to get the data of a particular page inside my followers, what I will write over here? I will write data and I'll pass a particular page. If I pass 0, then I'll get the element of my 0th index in my data array. If I pass page 2, then I'll get the elements of my third element or second index element in my data array. But if you go back, let's refresh this. You can't still see anything, like it's still the okay. Here, followers. So now if you go back, you will see an error which says cannot read properties of undefined reading map. So that means that this data that I'm passing over here is not defined or it is completely empty, and that we saw that our first two arrays were empty. That means my first array was empty. It was showing 2 times because it was re-rendering again and again. So it is fine. We do not need to worry about it, but it is fine, right? So I'll make some conditions. Now what I'll do, I'll say if loading is true, then just return. Don't do anything, just return. But if it is false, set my followers to what? Set my followers to data page. Okay. Okay, now what is the condition that I want to pass? The loading condition I want to pass. Depending on the loading condition, I want to make a changes. Suppose my loading was true, it was not showing my data, completely fine. This use effect will come into play. My loading turns into false, my use effect will again come into play and it will check. Okay, it is false. That means set my followers. Right? If you again make my loading to true, you refresh or you do something else. Okay, you set my loading to true again, so it will check again. This my use effect will come into play again. It will check. Okay, loading is true. That means return. Don't do anything. Just keep loading. And once my loading turns into false again, it will set my followers to data page. So that is why if I now come back here, now I can see, okay, I have these 9 profiles over here because I'm going according to the loading. What we were doing here, if I'm not passing this loading, what I'm trying to do is, my loading is false. I have not fetched any data into my data. And even before that, I'm trying to set my followers to data page. I have not fetched my data and still I want to show that data. How it is possible? It is not, right? So that is why I was getting that error, and I'm making these changes so that if my loading is true, I can just return and not do anything. And if it is false, then make these changes. Okay. Again, is this clear? Or you have any doubt anywhere? If you have any doubt, just let me know.
Hello, Rupam.
Yes.
Sir, if their loading is true,
Mhm.
then how could we fetch the data set flowers? The loading is true.
It is getting fetched in the background. You are not fetching it. You have written here this use fetch. You are saying this fetch my data. So it is getting fetched. You
Yes, sir.
don't have to do now anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it is true, if I am fetching my data, so that means I am fetching the data currently. I haven't fetched any data, so that means my
Mm-hmm.
loading is still true, right? Since I have set my loading to true and it is still getting fetched, so my loading will be true. And as soon as this use effect comes into play, it will just return. It won't do anything. But once my data is fetched, what it will do, it will set my loading to false, right? And as
Okay.
soon as it does
Okay.
that, my set followers will be set to data page.
Yeah, Rupam, I got it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Anyone else? Okay, so let's move further and let's see what's next. My followers was supposed to be empty in the beginning, but obviously it is not um, empty now, as it is getting something. Data dash page, data page index. Now the changes that I want to make, I want to get those buttons 1 2 3 4 5 6. How can I change them? With the help of my page state. Currently it is 0. I can make it 1, I can make it true, I can make it 3, right? Currently I can see this data. If I make this 2, I'll save this. Look, the data changed. The second page data, look, if I go to second page over here, basically third page, my data is something like that here. So basically the API is different, I guess. If I click on 3, I'll save this, I'll go back. Look, the data is completely different, right? So this is my data from my third page, right? So let's now make those buttons so that I can change my page number, and depending on that page number, I'll be able to change this state, and depending on this state, I'll be able to change my data that we are seeing on our app. Okay, so let's do that and let's make those changes. Okay, so for this we'll need to, okay, if I go back and have a look here, I need 3 things. First is my previous button, second is my this array of my number of pages. Okay, I have two options. Either I can just make one button with a text of 1, button with a text of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can just keep on creating that, or I can link them into my number of pages that was in my utils.js, right? Here, this pages. Okay, either I can link it with that, I can make that array, map over it, and show that, right? And if I click on a particular value, I can change that page number, basically this state, right? So yeah, let's do that and let's make those changes. I'll come back over here, and after my div, let's write here something like this first. If not loading, okay, if my loading is false, if not loading, then do what? Then show me a div with the class name of btn dash container. Okay, I think this would not appear here, something like this. So let's make a div, class name btn dash container, in this hello world. Now again, why I'm writing this not loading? Same condition, same thing. Otherwise it will show me error if I just directly pass this btn container and write this hello world. Okay, I do not want to take that error, so I'm passing this. Okay, I can see this hello world. If I refresh, look, loading, and after my loading is finished, then only it will show me this hello world. If you want to check, just go to your network, make it slow 3G, and you will be able to do that. Okay, so we need to change this data page. Let's do that and let's make those changes. Obviously, I do not need this hello world, so I'll remove this, and inside this I'll say data.map. I want two things over here: item, since I want to target a particular element, then my index. In this I'll say return button. I'll need to pass some key. Key will be index this time. Class name is can be anything. What can we pass? Let's pass a page dash btn. I hope this pulls the css. Anyways, in this I'll say index. Let's save this. Let's go back and look, we have these buttons. Instead of this, I'll write index plus 1. Yes, I have these. Obviously they do not have any functionality as of now, but it is much better than earlier, right? Earlier I did not have anything, but now I have this. So index plus, yeah, so my sorry, so my index plus 1 is over here, and this works. I need two more things, this previous and next button, and along with that I need some functionality in it, right? If I click on it, it changes my data. So what I can do here, I can say on click, if I click on a particular button, set before that let's make one more function, the class name of handle page index. Okay, I will not make that inline function now. I'll just set page to index. Let's pass it. If you want, you can make this inline function, totally up to you. Handle page. Okay, it just I did not wanted to call it at on the point itself, so I'll say handle page. I'll save this. I'll come back. Now let's see. If I click on this, okay, this should have worked, although it is not. Now let's see. Yeah, this should be in line, and also I should pass this index in this, right, as a parameter. If I do not pass this parameter, how am I supposed to get this parameter over here, and how am I supposed to change this page? Now let's come back over here. Okay, still doesn't work. Mm, mm, no worries, we'll make it work. I want to change my page, and that is what I'm trying to do over here. Okay, okay. So before I tell you, can anyone else tell me like what should be added over here? Like what change that I should make so that my this whole thing works, and if I click on these, it works. Anyone? Okay, no worries. Anyways, so I'll need to invoke this also when I make some changes into page, because I was only making those changes if my loading was loading was getting some changes, whether it was become true or false. Okay, so basically when only one time my use effect was coming into play, and that is when it was setting my followers, right, and that is when it was giving some data into my followers, and so that was just one time at the time of arrival or at the time of a refresh or reload. It was there and I was mapping over it, right? But I also want to now change the data or set my followers when I make some changes into my page, right? This, so that is why I'll be passing it over here. And if I click on 2 now, my data will change. If I click on 3, my data will change, and so on. Okay, and similarly if I go on and click on 12, it will just have this one element. You should know, you should just give details to, like, give attention to these tiny details like use effect and page and all that. Okay, anyways, is this clear? Like, is this button part clear, or anywhere you're having any doubt? If you're having any doubt, just let me know. Okay, before you ask, let me add the CSS also. If I am on a particular page, if the particular page is active, then look, the color changes, right? So let's make that CSS change. It is no React, but it looks good. So I'll write over here, I'll say page dash btn. Always have this CSS. Also, page, let's save this. Okay, sorry about that. So index is equals to page, I have this. So basically I'm trying to say, if this is true, okay, if my index is equals to my page, then set it to my active btn or something. Yeah, I don't remember the class name. Anyways, active dash btn, and if it is false, just keep it null. Or you can set it something like this also. If my index is equals to page, if this is true, then give me take these two classes, or if it is false, just take this class. Okay, you can write it something like this too. I'm writing this null over here. It's fine. Now you see the change. 4, 7, 10, 3, 2, 12, and just like that. Okay. Again, any doubt till now? Like anywhere you want to ask something or anything else? Okay, so I think no doubt there. Let's move on to the next thing, and that is going to be our previous and next button. Okay, so what they are doing, basically if I click on them, it is taking me to next page, and if I click on the previous button, it is taking me to previous button. So my previous button should come before these pagination buttons, right? So I'll go over here and inside my btn container only, before I pass all these buttons, I'll make a button, the class name of prev-ptn. Okay, and here I'll write a prev. I'll save this, and here I'll say on click prev page. I'll make that function, don't worry. Let's copy this, and after my this div is done, or basically this button is done, x plus 1, I can make my next button. Let's make it next, and let's make this next page. Right, I do not have this function, neither do I have this prev page. I'll make those functions. Okay, it's not defined, so let's make them defined. Right, const prev page, and here I can just go on and write for my previous page. So basically here I will try to reduce my index, right? Index minus 1 or something like that. Also, as for my next page, I'll try to increase my index. So here I'll say set page to what? Firstly, take whatever the value is, take it as a old page. Okay, old page. Now let next page is equals to old page plus 1. Now there is a catch here. The thing is, if I keep on clicking on this next, now here I can go and return next page, right? I can just go on and return next page over here. That is completely fine. But the thing is, if I keep on doing that, a time will come when I am on 12th page, and when I click next, there is no more page left. So that means that I'll fall into some error, right? And that is clearly not what I want. So I'll come back over here and I'll say if next page okay, so I'll be passing some conditions that if next page has this value, then do this and all that. So if next page is greater than data dot length minus 1, then set my next page to 0. So basically, if it is getting surpassed 12, then make my next page to 0. Otherwise, return it directly. Right, I do not want to touch it, but if next page is greater than this, then next page is 0, then return it. So I can go back over here, I can refresh. Now if I click on next, look, even after I am on 12 next, and here I am, right? So let's do the same thing for previous page. Over here I can make this -1, and this I can make to less than 0. Let's change this name. Brief. Save this, and this should not be like 0. This should instead be data dot length -1, basically last page. Okay, also I'll be returning here previous page. Let's refresh. So now if I just go on some page and if I click on previous, I can go on and okay. So this is how you work on pagination. And yeah, if this was our project. If you have any doubt, just let me know, or otherwise we'll move on to our next project. Any doubts? Okay, I'm giving you a short break for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, we'll start quickly with a new project. I'm just giving you a break so that you can just get refreshed for the. Okay, so we are here. Let's move further and let's look at our new project. Now this is going to be interesting. What we have, we can search movies over here. Basically, currently I can just see these Batman movies over here, right? Yeah, so I can go on and search for movies. Suppose I want to search for Superman movie. Okay, Superman. I'll go and search. All the Superman movies appears over here. Okay. If I click on a particular movie, here look, I have just made this very simple. If you want, you can add more things. You can add names. You can add characters. Whatever you want, you can do that. If I click on this back to movies button, I'll be taken to back to this button. It is somewhat similar to that cocktails API project that we made, but not completely. Like it is completely different and it is a unique thing and new thing. Also, in this, we'll not be using the API directly. We'll be using something called API key. Now, what is that API key and how that works? How can we hide that API key so that no one else can use your API key? We'll see in this project. Okay, so I hope you are as excited as me. Let's get started and let's see how it works. Also, if you look here, it says movie not found. Why? Because Superma is not any movie, right? There's no movie with the name of Superma probably. That is why it is showing me that movie is not found. So we'll get an error also. Also I need to, okay, look, incorrect IMDb ID. If I do not pass anything or something like that, it will show me incorrect IMDb ID, right? If I have if I pass some letter over here and it has too much of data, then it will show me the error too many results. Okay, so this is going to be great. If I click on Batman, I can just go on and click on here, back to movies. Okay, so this is going to be our project. Let's move further. Let's close our pagination and let's move on to our last project. Terminal, CD, setup, I'll hit enter so that I can this. Let's hit npm install so that I can get my dependencies. Okay, as we saw in our cocktail project, we had something called use context, right? Sorry, context file. Similarly, over here, we also have this context file. This time I'll not be explaining it. I have already explained it earlier. So I will not be explaining it, but basically what we are trying to do here is we are taking this API endpoint This is our API, and with which I'll fetch my data. And the data that I'll fetch, and few more functions and all that. Whatever I do, I'll pass it over here, right? Sorry, over here in my value. Then with the help of my use global context, I'll be calling them in different functions. Oh, sorry, different files of my JavaScript. Okay, so that I'll do. And if you want to know more about this context.js, go back to that recording of cocktail project. It was, I think, previous lecture only, so just go to that and have a look over there how it is all. I have I have explained it there in detail. Other than this, I have index.js. You know this index.js, you know this. My whole styling is here. App.js, my complete app, basically what you are seeing over here. Then I have home.js, basically my home page. In my app.js, I'll be writing home, and that is how I'll see my home page over here. Other than this, I have movies.js, so basically my movies page. Okay, so these movies component. Okay, this I can get through. Also for single movie, this a single page for a particular movie is my single movie page. So as you can see, the URL is changing. So that means we'll be using React router in this. Okay. I have a search form.js. What is this? This is my this input. Okay, this here I can go and search for the movies. So yeah, this is how this is going to work, and we'll have a look. As soon as my dependencies get installed, we'll start working on it. Okay, don't take so much time. Hmm. Okay, till then it get installed. There are three of you. So do you want to suggest anything for the workshop, or you want to see something get improved? What are your suggestions? Like, you have been here for 6 to 7 lectures. Anything you want to suggest? Or Akshay, Sadaf, Yogita?
No, sir. All things are good.
Okay, there should be something that I can improve.
Sir, I can say, as you're explaining the topic of use effect, then you
Hmm.
can just give the brief introduction or brief knowledge of use effect, then some use state like this.
And the thing is, Yogita, in that I'll have to repeat everything every time, and use effect and use state per
No,
se.
no,
Hmm.
no, not every time. In the just I had taken the example of use state. You can take any point, like any topic, like today you are explaining any hook topic, then what is hook, type of hooks, then use of hooks, and then you can start the tutorials like this.
The thing why I don't do that is I'll have to repeat myself, right? And I have already done that, so I don't like repeating myself. But I'll take that into consideration, and I'll always maybe explain it in a brief or something. Okay.
Okay, okay. I know because I have already attended one class. Just for the refreshment, I'm doing this class also. So I know the basic concept. But I think some more people are also there who is just initially doing these classes. For that, I
You have
suggest you.
attended. What do you mean by you have attended? Like,
Like I have done the proper class for React.js
with the offline class or something like
of
that?
3 months. Yes, actually it was online only.
Okay.
Proper 3 month class.
Oh, okay. Right. Right. Okay. Cool.
So I know the basic concept.
Okay. Um. So, Sadaf, you wanna suggest something? Okay. No inputs. Anyway. Let's look into the API that we'll be using. We'll be using OMDB API. Okay, it sounds like a popular DB, IMDB, but this is what we'll be using as they do not provide much information IMDb for free. We'll need something called API key. I'll go over here. I'll give my email. Web dev project. We're changing the API this time. gmail.com. Submit. No, Patreon was for free. I need free, sir. Let's give my email ID. rupamgupta68@gmail.com. Rupam Gupta use project teaching purpose. Okay, submit. Verification link. So let's go to my mail and let's verify it. Here I have this API. I have this API key and all that. Let's make it. Let me verify it. And your key is now activated. Cool. So my key is now activated. That means that I can go on and use my key in my project. So let's get back to our project. Now in here I'll make a file with the name of .env in my source only. Okay, I'll make a new file and I'll say .env. Okay, not in my source maybe. Let's remove this. In my set .env. Yeah, this is fine. This looks fine. So I'll make this .env file and in here now what is this env file? Like, what is this? So now whatever I write in my env, and when I write here git ignore .env, let's not write over here, maybe all the dependencies are over here. Okay, here .env. Okay, it was written, but yeah. Okay, now what is happening over here? The thing is, I'm saying git ignore env. So when I push my app on GitHub, what it will do? It will not show my .env file, this file. So that means that I can write anything in this file, this .env file, and it will not be accessible to anyone. If they take my code and if they try to run online, then it will work. If I link my GitHub to some Heroku or Netlify or something, and I try to run that app, then it will run. As you can see over here, this app is running, right? But no one will be able to see what I have written inside my .env. And what is that I am going to write inside my .env? My passwords, my API keys, right? My private things that I don't want to show to anyone else, but I want to use them inside my project or my app. So here in my .env, I am making this .env so that I can use my API key. Alright, so I'll come back over here and I'll say react dash API dash movie dash react dash movie API, I guess. React app movie API key is equals to, and I can just go on and write my API over here. So let's copy this. paste it here, and we are good to go. I can just go on and use this now. Okay, anywhere in my project. Obviously, I have to call it, but I can go on and use it anywhere. If I come to context.js, as you can see, I am already writing over here process.env.react or react app movie API key. So if you want to use it, you will have to write this process.env, right? And then you can use it. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now, how will we use this API? Like in order to get some data or something like that, how will we using this API? So for that, let's go back to the main page. Now, in order to show the data, in order to send the request, in order to fetch some data, we'll write something like this. Okay, we'll write this http www.omdbapi.com slash then API key is equals to, then we'll pass this API which we are getting through here. Okay, so basically this is our API endpoint now. If you want to get a particular data, you can write those parameters and you can get that data. Okay, just go through these and just get the data according to whatever you want. Okay, if you want to get a particular movie, series or episode, like the type. Okay, so then use this type parameter. Okay, I hope this is clear, and the things will become more clear as soon as we move further and make more changes. So let's copy this, and in here what I'll do, I'll write, instead of your key, I will get my key, and in here I'll pass this paste, and since I want to get with a particular name, so I'll say s is equals to Batman. Okay, and if I press enter now, okay, false, invalid key, why, okay, okay, it should not be in bracket. Yeah, so now I have this data. Okay, the data that I'm seeing over here, where is my app, here, I can see over here in this API. Okay, so that means when my search bar is having this Batman, it will show me this data. That means if I want to get the Batman, then I have to write s is equals to Batman. That means my all search entries will be like this, s is equals to query, right? It will be like this. I'll write that program and I'll write those conditions and all that, and we'll be good to go in order to work over there. And at the same time, if I make some changes over here, suppose I make this mark, then look, I get this response false and error as movie not found. At the same time, if I make this BA false, too many results, error. Okay, if you remember the error that I was getting over here, if I remove this, look, too many results, right? So yeah, think we can now start and get started with it and start working on it. I have my API key, I have written this as process.env. Okay, so if you want to use it, you write it something like this, process.env. Now in that, it depends how many variables you have made. I have just made one variable, single variable for now, so I can just go on and directly call it react app movie API key. If you have something else, just call it accordingly. If I want to check my this URL, so I'll say end find console log. Let's console log over it. Okay, let's go back to our app, spec console, and here it is. Okay, it is currently, it is showing me undefined. Now why is this undefined? Like, why is it showing me undefined over here? There should be a reason for that, right? So the reason, will someone else tell me the reason? Okay, just take a chance, just abruptly, like if you think you have some idea or something. I see that no one responds, but still I keep on asking. Anyways, um, let me hit npm start, then I'll show you something. Okay, now let me show you. Fact console. Now look, my API has appeared. Basically, it wasn't refreshed or something. Okay, it was not able to cope up with the .env file and all that. So that is why it was showing me this API, nothing else. Now, if you want to show the result of this, then you can say copy link address, paste it over here, press enter. False, incorrect IMDb ID. Okay, I'm not passing anything like and s is equals to Batman or something. If I pass that, I'll have some data, right? So let's write that. Okay, just like this, and s is equals to Batman. So if I go and write over here, and s is equals to Batman, I have this Batman data. So that means I can go on and write in front of this, and s is equals to this, and I'll get a movie according to that, right? So anyways, yeah. So let's work on that. Let's first work on React router, then we'll work on a particular movie. Okay, one thing at a time. So for that, I'll go to my app, and I'll say that depending on like what URL I'm on, make changes. So let's go to our app. Something more, I'll need to tell you this. I'm calling browser router as router over here, right? So in this it is fine, but I'll need to make the changes in my app.js also. Also, I can do it here also, so I can go something like this. I can say here router. I can call this app just to see some changes. I'll come back to my app.js. Come on. Let's remove this h2. I'll directly say switch. Okay. If you want, you can if you want, you can start your import like this browser router as router over here and write that router, or you can just directly cover your complete app in your router. Why I'm doing this? Because I do not have any navbar, right? If you look in my app, I do not have any navbar. Like if I go to my new page, it's completely different. I do not have anything to show same. So that is why I'm doing this. I'm including this including my app into my router in my index.js itself. But if you don't want to do this, you want to go the traditional way, then you can include your app in router over here also. Now, I'll be using switch, but if you're working on a new file or new project, then you will have to use routes. Okay. It is due to the version. This also I have explained earlier, so I'll be moving on. I'll not waste our time. Switch, and here route as usual, path should be this, and here I'll say exact, since I want to keep this as my exact path. Also in this I'll make this as home, right, since I want to keep it home page and I have already imported it. Also I'll make one more thing over here, and that is going to be my single movie, right, or movie. So path is equals to movies slash id, since I want to pass some param in order to target a particular movie. Right, so I'll do this, and I'll say children equals to movie, right. I'll close this. Yeah, this is my widget. Okay, I'll go to a particular page, but that is the next part. We'll see into it. If I go something like this, movies slash one single movie. Okay, why? Because I'm passing this URL slash movie slash param. Okay, it does not know that there is no such param as one, but again, it has no idea about that, right? So I'm having this single movie over here because of this movie component. Okay. Okay, so let's see further what we have in the basket. Now let's fetch our data. Okay, let's close all this and let's get back to our context.js. Also let me get app.js also home.js. As you can see, there's form and there is movies. Basically, let's bring it here, this form and these movies. So let's remove this h2, and instead of this on this main I'll write form. Okay, so basically these two components, right here, saying search component and movie component with the help of my home. Now what the data comes in my may form or movies, it will come from my movie.js and form.js. That is fine, we do not have to worry about it. We'll come to context.js so that I can fetch my data and I can show my data. Right, so in my value I wouldn't write this hello, instead I'll pass some other values, right? So if I want to make changes, again whatever I want to call, I'll call with the help of my use global context, right, in whichever file. So suppose I want to get something from here. Okay, suppose I make an API. This is our API, we already have that. I fetch some data from it, right? And suppose I have a loading or something, and or suppose I have some data and I want to get it in some other file. How will I do that? I'll do it with the help of my use global context. I think I have written somewhere. Okay, I have not written anywhere, but yeah, so that is fine, we'll look. But I'm importing it, not to worry. Let's close this and let's get to our context.js and let's write something. Let's fetch our data and just like that. Okay, so I'll make a state first so that I can make changes and all that. I'll make a state, I'll say is loading. So when I want to change something in my loading, I'll target this. So loading, as you know, we keep our loading to true always in the beginning, and after I have fetched my data, I'll make it false. My error comma set error, use state. As you know, we had two things, right? If it is if my error is true or not, like if there is error or not, and the error that I want to show. So I'll make this as an object and I'll say show false, currently do not show any error, and set my message to empty. Okay, let's save this. Const movies comma set movies, use state, let's keep it empty in the beginning, and after I have fetched some data I'll make changes, but let's keep it empty for now. Again, I'll need one more thing, and that is going to be my query. The movie that I want to search is going to be my query, right? So I'll say query comma set query, use state, and in this I'll pass Batman. In the beginning I'll keep it Batman, but obviously we are going to change it. Use effect, I'll pass this condition, empty condition, right? Since I want to only fetch my data when I refresh or when I come on the page for the first time, right? I am not specifying for the query right now, I'm just specifying for the first time when I come on the page. So that is why I'm not passing any condition. But if I want to get my data on some condition, then I'll pass it over here. Okay, so I'll say fetch movies. Now how will I fetch movies? I'll make a function, but before I make a function, let me pass a parameter over here. So I'll say API endpoint, basically this. Okay, because this is what I'll need in order to get my API. So let's make that function. Const fetch movies is the name of the function. Now what is the parameter that I'll be passing? I'll be passing URL. So let's keep it that way. Let's keep this URL. And let's fetch data. Okay, first set my loading to true. Okay, if it is false, make it true. If it is true, be it true. But I don't want to take any chance. I'll make a try catch block in order to fetch the data. So in this try, I'll say const response is equals to await. Okay, we'll be using promise in order to fetch our data. Okay, in order to use fetch, as you know, we'll be needing async, right? So I'll say await fetch URL const data is equals to await response dot json. Okay, so basically we are fetching some data, and I can just go on and show you this data. Also, if you remember, if I want to get data for a particular movie or something, what I'll do, I'll say and s is equals to, and in this I'll pass my request or basically query. Currently, as you can see, my query is Batman, so that means Batman will be passed over here. That means it will be passed over here. That means it will be passed over here, and that means it will be passed over here. So basically, it will fetch URL based on what I'm passing query. I'm passing query as Batman, so it will give me data according to my Batman. But I also want to console log for error. I'll save this, I'll go back, I'll say inspect console, and now look, I have this object. Let me refresh and you will have a better look. Look, I have this array which is having 10 elements. I'll open it. Basically the Batman data again. Basically this data, it is showing me this in my search array. In my search array, look over here. In my search array, it is showing me this complete data. Okay, so this is how it is working. You are clear? and let's go back. Instead of just console logging, let's put it to some use, right? I'll say if data dot response is equals to true. Okay, I'll again show you this. Look, it says response is equals to true. It only says so when I am able to fetch some data. If I am not able to fetch some data, then it will say response is false. Okay, so my response is going to be true. So whenever my response is true, set my movies to what? To data dot search. Now again, what is search? I just show you that search was the array in which my complete data was there. Okay, so set movies to data dot search. So yeah, this is how it works. And let me set error to what? If I was able to fetch my data, that means there should be no error, right? If it is fetching data, that means all inputs were correct. That means my show will be false and message will be empty. And as for this, okay, let's make else option here only. Set my error to what? Firstly, make my show to true and my message to, I'll just show you. I'll make this a bar and my error comes in error, right? Look, my error comes in error. So I'll go back and here I'll say data dot error. Great. So I have now dealt with error, and also if I'm getting some data, so I'm like fetching the data now. I need to do just few things now. I need to set my loading to false, and instead of passing just hello, let's pass some values. Let's say is loading, comma error, and what else do I have? Movies and query, right? So let's write movies. Let's write query. I'll also need set query, right? So I'll also include this. Why I'll need set query? Because depending on the set query only, I'll be able to set a new query, right? It is like a very obvious thing. Don't know why I'm explaining that, but this is it. So now I can access these is loading, error, movies query, and set query in my any other file. So let's go to our movie component, and first let's work on that, and then we'll work on search component. Why? I have two components in my home page, search component and movie component. Either I can work on search or I can work on movies. I'll prefer working on movies first. Sorry. Okay, so before removing this, let's call them with the help of our use global context. Okay, the things from my context is loading, error, movies query, and set query. So here I'll say get me movies, comma is loading, use global context. Here I'll say if is loading is true, then return loading, else return this. Section, the class name should be movies. Okay, The class name should be movies, and let's show some data. Since my data appears in my movies, right? We saw in our context that all my data was getting into my movies. So let's map over it. I'll go something like here, and return. Let's take with a single movie. I'll have to return here. I can just go on and return with the movie name. For now, I'll just write a movie maybe. Yeah. And also, let's console log movie so that we can see some data. Let's go back. Okay, it is loading. It is fetching data or something. Okay, why is it still loading? Okay, I have not set my loading to false, right? So after this, I'll say set as a loading to false. And even after catching error, set as loading to false. I'll save this. I'll go back over here. So loading, and then I can see these movies over here. Okay, let me see the movies. I have console log for it, right? Yeah, I'm console logging it. So let me refresh. I can see this warning because I have not provided key. We'll provide it, don't worry. Now look, I have this data for a first movie. It says Batman Begins, title, year, IMDb ID. So ID is different for everything. So that means I can use it as a key, right? Let's do that and let's work on it. Instead of directly getting those names, what I'll do, I'll change their names. I'll say const IMDb ID, take it as a ID, poster as image, title as title, year as year, and these are all coming from a single movie object. In my return, let's remove this. Let's make a link. Why a link? Because I have to take my particular movie to a particular page. So if I click on this, I must go to this page, right? So for that, I'll have to use link. I have already imported from my React router DOM. 2 is equals to, what is supposed to be movies slash, I'll go back to my app.js just to check, slash movie slash id. Okay, fine. So slash movies and then id. Why id? Because I'm importing this as a id now. Okay, it's not imdb id anymore. Also, I'll need to pass one more thing, and that is going to be my key. So over here, I'll say id. In this, I'll also pass my class name, and the class name is going to be movie. Here, I'll save this. I'll come back. I can't see anything. Why? Because I have not written anything inside it. So let's make that change. Article, and in this article, I can make image. My source is going to be poster. Okay, my alternative is obviously going to be title. Poster, no poster, sir. Image. Yeah, cool. Let's make one more div. What div? If you look here, here, if I hover on it, look, name and this year is coming, right? So let's make that div. I have already styled for it. Dot movie dash info. Inside this, I'll make a h4 with a class name of title, and in this, I'll make title. I'll also make one more thing for year. Look, now it appears. Now this looks cool. Yeah, so now even if I click on this, it will take me to next page with the id and movie slash that. I can go on and work on this single movie, but that's another story. we'll work on it a bit later. Okay, so yeah, this was about movies. Now let's go and work on our search form. Before that, if I just go here and search for Superman, suppose, okay, because this is the only way how we can set query as of now. And look, I have these Superman movies. Okay, even if I go with soup, I think I'll get the same movies. Okay, I don't know what is this. Super. Now, yeah. You might be wondering what is this? What is this URL for? This is for an empty image. So if I click on this, I'll be taken to this. No photo available. So basically, if I again search for SU over here, save this, go back. Let's make a soup. Look, here it is not showing any image. So just for that it still shows something to you, like, right, it doesn't look good. So I'll go back over here and I'll say, sorry, in my app.js, if my image is equals to if my image is equals to an a, if it is not available, then set my URL, poster. I don't think poster is defined though. If it is not available, then make it URL. So basically this URL, okay, basically this empty image. And if it is available, if it is false, like if it is available, then keep it as image only. Okay, I'll save this now. Okay, now it appears something like that, no photo available. At least we know that, okay, there is also a movie over here which I am not able to access or something like that. Okay, so yeah, so this was about it. Now let's go back and let's work on search form.js. Let me close this. Now in our search form, we have three things: this heading, this input, and this error. Right? These are three things that we are having in our search form, or search movies, or whatever you want to call it. So let's go back and open it and let's start our work on it. Okay, it is 8:36 already, but never mind. I'll highly take 10 to 15 minutes more, and just that we started late. That was the problem, I think. If I go to context.js, currently I was just fetching this data based on for the first time, like whatever my query was here for the first time, I was fetching my data. But now I want to fetch the data whenever there is a change in my query. Okay, whenever there is a change in my query, I want to fetch the data. It's not like just the first time I do fetch the data when I'm on the app or something. I want to fetch the data whenever there is a change in my query. So I'll pass this condition, and yeah, so that was the first thing that we needed to do. Let's make this back to Batman. Let's save this. I have these Batman movies. Let's get to our search form. let's get few things from our use global context, right? Now, what are the things that I'm going to need? I'm going to need query, right? Also, I need to show you something. Okay, let's call these things and then I'll tell you. So what I'll need query, I need set query, and also I'll need error. Now, why error? I don't think I'm passing the error though over there. Okay, I'm passing. Why error? Why do I need this? Because I want to show the error, right? If I'm getting some error, I want to show it. So that is why I'm getting this error. And it is all coming from my use global context, which I have already imported over here, which is over here, and in which we have all our content. Anyways, instead of this return, let's make a beautiful form dot class name could be search dash from. Let's remove this action. Let's make a on submit, and on submit I'll say e dot prevent default. Okay, and in this form, firstly get me a h2 which says search movies. Save this, come back over here, search movies. Import type should be text. Let's remove this id and name. Class name form dash input. Right, as you know, we need two things in order to work with form or input: value and on change. So I'll pass value as query, and on change, what we do, we make a inline function, we pass e as a parameter. Okay, why is this? Yeah, no, it's fine. So here I'll pass my e as a parameter, and here I'll say set query as whatever there's a value over there, e dot target dot value basically. Okay, and after this, error dot show. If the error is true, then show me something. Let's pass this later on. But now, if I since I'm passing this e dot target dot value, so now if I just go and search for some movie, I can just go on and do that. Okay, so I'm directly impacting my query now, or the query now with the help of this input. Okay, since I'm using value and on change. Now I have one more thing to do, that is this error. So if my error dot show is true, basically if you look into my error object, okay, this was supposed to be show. Yeah. So if my error dot show is true, then I want to show some error, and if it is false, I do not want to show any error or anything, right? So let's do that, and let's show that error. I will make our div with a class name of error. Error dot message. I'll save. Okay, I'll go back. Now let me search. Yeah, I'm getting the error. Incorrect IMDb ID, movie not found. Right, man, let's search for Godfather. Okay, here we are. Right, this is fine now, I think. Now what I can do is, what I need to do, I just need to work on this single movie now, and all in all our project is almost over. I just need to work on this single movie. So let's remove these things. Let's move on to our single movie and let's start our work. Let's be done with it finally. In here, I'll get my ID first. From where? From my params. So use params. Where it is coming from? It is coming from my React router DOM. I have already imported it. So basically, it will tell me this ID. Okay. When I do const ID use params, it will give me this ID. Const which movie do I want to get? That will depend on my ID. I'll make that change, not to worry. Okay, I'll have some data. As for my loading, set is loading, or I can just go with loading and okay, keep it. Let's make it true. Error comma set error. Okay, suppose I'm not able to fetch some movie or something like that. Now in my user state I can say show false. Currently I am keeping it to be false. Message as none. Let's fetch movie. How will I fetch movie? With the help of my fetch movie function. Async, since I want to use await. The prompts here. URL. How will I get that URL? We'll discuss over it. Const response is equals to await fetch URL. Const data is equals to await response.json. Okay, so here I am, and let's make few more changes. I can show my data directly over here though, so let's have a look at that. Also, in order to show the data, in order to make this function work, I'll have to invoke this function, right? So we'll use effect to invoke our function. I'll pass an ID as condition as ID. Why? Because I want to only fetch this movie if I go on a new single movie, right? And say fetch movie. This was my function. I'll save this. Now let's refresh, inspect, console. Okay, there's some error. What is the error? What is the error? What is the error? Okay, I'm not passing any URL, right? It is expecting some parameter over here, but I'm not passing any parameter, right? So I should pass some parameter in here. Okay, I have my API endpoint coming from context.js over here. So let's go back, and in my fetch movie, let's pass that API dash endpoint. Also, I need a data according to a particular ID now. So if we go back, in order to get data from a particular ID, you need to use I, a valid IMDb ID. Okay, so if you want to use a data from a particular ID, so you will go something like this, and I is equals to, and in here you can pass your ID. Now if I save this, if I go back, I'll refresh. Now look, there is my godfather. Okay, and this is the movie, single movie. Now that means that I can use this data in order to show the data over here. Why it is appearing godfather? Because I clicked on the godfather. I'll get my godfather back. I'll click on the godfather, inspect, console, check, and refresh. Look, the godfather. Okay. Also, it's not like every time this is going to be true, like my response is going to be true, right? So what I'll do, I'll say here if data dot response is equal to false, then make some changes over here, and if it is else, make changes according to this. So set movie to null, obviously, right? Sorry, data, if my situation is true, if my data dot response is true. Also, I'll need to set my loading to false since I have fetched the data. I would like to set it to false. Also set error over here since I'm having error as I'm not able to fetch any data. So show to true, message to data, data dot what? I think it was what it was. Yeah, data dot error, I guess. Also, again, I'll want to set my loading to false, no matter what. Right. So let's save this. So this works, I guess. I'll come back here for my multiple returns. I'll say if loading is true, then return div with the class name of loading. That means that circle. But if it is not the case, okay, one for error also. I'll say if error dot show is true, then return over here page dash error. In this I'll make a h1 error dot msc. I'm moving fast because I don't think there is anything to explain. Also, I'll make a link so as to come back to the home page, right? Your class name is equals to bdn and back to movies. Okay, basically the button to go back to our home page. Okay, let's show here h1 single movie. Okay, single movie. In order to show that data, let's get that data from our data over here. As a const, let's destructure it. Poster is let's keep it poster only. For the title, let's keep it title. For plot, let's keep it plot. And for the year, let's keep it year. This is all coming from my movie, right? So let's remove this. Let's make a section with a class name of single dash movie, right? Currently I can't see anything, obviously. Let's make an image. In src, let's make this poster. Alternative, let's make this title. After this, let's make it single dash movie dash info. Title, I'll need a plot, and I'll need, okay, not like this. I'll need a plot, and also I'll need a here, right? So let's have a look. Yeah, this is all I have. And if I compare to this, okay, I just need one more thing, and that is this button. So let's get back here. Let's move it back to home. So link will be to home only. Back to movies. Save. Let's make a button. Let's some styling to it. BT. Yeah. Now if I click on this back to movies, I'll be taken back to it. So this was our project, and this is what we had to work on, and we completed 3 projects today. I hope you like them, and yeah, this is it for today. If you have any doubt, let me know anywhere, like in any component or something. If you have any doubt, tell me, otherwise we are done over here.